7:02. We could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yay.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll, please?
Sure. Lori Bourgeau?
Here.
Kelsey Cook?
Here.
Maureen Helmuth?
Yes.
Allison Kemp?
Yes.
Jacob Nicosia?
Here.
All right, we have a quorum. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, motion made by Nicosia, seconded by Kemp. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nay? Motion carries. Item 5 is public hearing. We have 2 this evening. First is the delinquent utility billing and violations to be added to the 2024 tax roll. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing for the billing and violations we had the 2024 tax roll at 7:02.
Support.
Okay, motion made by Helmut, seconded by Bourgeau. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and the public hearing is open. So the purpose of this public hearing is to allow for public comment regarding those delinquent violation notices. So at the end of February, individual delinquent notices were mailed. A legal notice was posted in the Oxford Leader. Notice was posted at the village office. Residents were then given an opportunity to pay the delinquent bills by May 1st to avoid placing them on the tax bill. These are utility bills. They're collected the same way tax payments are. And council will now hear any public comment. Anyone who would like to address these violations being placed on the summer tax bills? Anyone would like to speak on this public hearing? Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing at 7:05.
Thank you. Okay, motion by Helda, seconded by Kemp. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nay. Motion carries. That hearing is closed. The second one is our truth in taxation and budget hearing. Is there a motion to open this public hearing?
Make a motion to open the truth and taxation budget hearing at 7:05.
Support.
Thank you. Motion made by Bourgeau, seconded by Nicosia. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nay? Motion is open. So this public hearing is for joint notice of the proposed budget that's presented and the millage to be levied. And we are levying the same millage that we have currently in place. So we're not raising the taxes. We are just planning on, which will be discussed later in the budget, council will take action on that later in the agenda, but now is the time to hear any public comment regarding keeping the taxes the same and our proposed budget. Mr. Medor, did I miss anything?
Nope, as Terry has highlighted on the memo there, a few years ago when it was raised 0.5 mils, that's dedicated to local road repairs, and it's approximately $75,000 this year that we transfer, to the local road fund for that purpose.
Great, thank you, that's helpful. Would anyone like to speak for this public hearing? If so, please feel free to approach the podium. And if you don't mind stating your name and address, that would be great.
Evelyn Archer, 750 Lakes Edge Drive. And I'm really happy to hear that the millage will not be raised. I implore all levels of government to really consider what people are going through as they go to the grocery stores, as they fill up their tanks with gas. And perhaps it's possible to cut certain items in the budget so that we can stay within budget. I know that we need fire trucks, we need ambulances, unbelievable road repairs that are so expensive. But as one example, I understand that the village owns the Northeast Historical Museum on M24. And I'm just wondering, are we asking for rent for that building. And I know that I think a general charge for residential, for instance, is $2,000 a month. I mean, even if we did $2,000 a month, that's $24,000 a year. And, I'm just wondering, are we charging rent for that building? And really, do they have money in their savings account? And so, I just think that we need to charge where it's fair. And the other thing is, I sure hope we're not paying a percentage towards other communities' water bills. I know I asked about a year ago and you said, no, we're not. And I hope that is certainly the same. I thought I saw a chart about 9 months ago that showed the percentage of water bills that we are paying towards other communities, and in fact communities that are not even in Oakland County. So I hope I'm wrong on that. And the other thing, maybe we could use marijuana proceeds towards necessary line items. I'm just thinking, fire trucks and ambulances and that kind of thing. These are definitely necessary line items in our budget, but we get some property taxes from the marijuana establishments and some proceeds, more proceeds from that too. So I'm just imploring you to just consider, little bits add up. I know you do consider it. I appreciate you working diligently the way you do. Thank you.
Thanks for your comments. I'll just note that we definitely use the marijuana proceeds well, I think, in the village for the amount that gets allocated to us. The fire trucks and ambulances are the township, the township portion of your taxes. Goes to pay for that, so we don't have that expense.
Thank heavens.
Yep.
But we do have roads.
Yep, absolutely, and we're working on them, as you can see.
Yes, and we have traffic, especially the new PUD that's planned on East Rainer. That's really going to affect us.
Yeah, that's definitely on our mind, so we'll be
Yeah.
taking that up probably at a subsequent meeting. So thank you for your
Thank you.
comments.
Yeah, I talked at the Plan Commission meeting last week as well and asked that maybe we could just have 2 entries and exit on East Rainer rather than at Glassby. I mean, it's already backed up. And is it too small to have a roundabout even, just to keep traffic flowing? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Please.
Devin Kreml, 29 Scripter Court. Just speaking on the budgeting, living just off Scripter Court, we are right by Round Lake. We have 16 house community, probably 20 kids under the age of 9. The park at Round Lake is pretty rough. I don't know if anyone has been there lately. There's not much for young kids to do. Speaking as a father of 3, we have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. There's about a 12-foot drop on that park. So living right there, it's a constant burden for my kids to want to go to the park, because I do have to chase them up there with the fear of, oh no, like here comes my 2-year-old tumbling down. There's essentially one slide there. So I don't know if we could fit in the budget redoing that park. It does notate on there that, this park is for 9 to 12-year-olds. Well, not many 12-year-olds are playing at that park. It's really younger kids. So there's a stop sign kind of blocking a gap where an old slide used to be. Lots of weeds growing there. I think, if we could put some budget in to do some swings and just redo that park, I think community would really benefit it. So especially as a father, we'd really like to see that coming off Scripter Court, but that's it. Appreciate your time.
Great. Thank you. I think that would be fantastic as well, so we'll definitely look into that. Thank you
Thank
for your
you.
comment.
No. If you walk in from the parking lot, oh, sorry. I was describing the drop to her.
Yeah, I was like, what's the drop?
Yeah.
It's I'm sorry, Michelle Short, 25 Scripter Court. I'm here just basically to echo the same sentiment. We have 16 houses that have been paying village taxes, specifically where an industrial building used to be. I know most of the houses were finished about 4 years ago, so if you do the math of all of us paying village taxes now, it's about $100,000 in the last 3 summers that we've paid. So it's, we sent an email last July. We sent another one this past March requesting some sort of option for what we could do to improve the park for our kids. You know, my husband has called and left messages for Joe, so we're just really hoping that we can find somewhere in the budget with what specifically just our street that is new to the village in the last 4 or 5 years. We would really appreciate adding something, anything that we could for our kids. Thanks.
Thank you so much for your comment. Would anyone else like to speak under public comment? Okay, hearing none, we will then move on to, I'm sorry, that was not under public comment, that was the budget hearing. Right?
Yes, we're still in the hearing.
We're still in hearing. Okay, anyone else like to speak on the budget hearing? Okay, is there a motion to close the budget hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the budget hearing at 7:15 p.m.
Great, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Motion made by Kemp, seconded by Bourgeois. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nay? Okay, that hearing is closed. Now we are on to public comment. I was getting ahead of myself. Does anyone, this is your chance for anyone to address council regarding anything you may have on your mind you'd like council to know. So is there anyone who'd like to speak under public comment? Please. Approach. Podium, thank you, Mr. Lavasser.
Hi, my name is Randy Lavasser, and I know I had a chance to meet some of you before the meeting. I'm running for state representative to represent Oxford Village as well as Oxford Township and the surrounding areas. A little bit about me, I'm a real estate attorney. I've been self-employed, my own business for the last 25 years. Among other things I did, I started a small business to help people reduce their property taxes. And that's really a passion of mine. I believe that our state government has gotten a little bit big. They need to do things to tighten their belt, help get more funds into locally, as well as to help people keep more funds in their own pocket. And that's really where my passion is. In addition to that, I believe it's very important that our state representative work closely with local officials to know what their needs are, what their concerns are, and to pursue solutions for those concerns. And if I'm elected, that's something I look forward to doing with you. And I want to be someone that's accessible to you. I want to be accessible to the folks in the community. I want to be a public servant. So I look forward to that opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak under public comment?
I thought you had it. Did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I was just, I can go off the podium.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotta make sure the camera gets you.
I was just kind of curious to reiterate what we just talked about. Like, what are the next steps in that process after this
For
for the
the
park?
park.
Yeah.
So that's something that I can talk to the village manager about, and we can see there are, grant opportunities that we're always looking for as well, and so we can try to, if there's something we can do. Joe, do you want to?
Generally, we don't respond to public comment. We get back with a plan.
Okay, that's what I was.
But I did want to make a small comment, as I had to go quiet down
Yeah.
the neighbors to the police department here.
Oh.
It wasn't a phone call.
Preserves your
I don't
neighbors.
recall receiving an email or message from anyone from Scripture Card in the last year or so. Perhaps an email is bouncing back. I don't know. I apologize if it came through and I did respond. I'm usually quite well at responding back to them. So, but I'm happy to. I talked to our DPW today about some things about maybe some funding for the park
Okay.
wall, stuff like that.
Yeah, I was just curious. I didn't know how this portion works, so that's it. Sorry.
No,
Yeah.
by any means, please call or email or get in, or I can get your information.
Yeah, I've never seen it, so I'll check it out. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, anyone else like to speak during public comment? Okay, seeing no one else, we will move on to the consent agenda
Does
items.
she have her hand up?
Oh, do you want to speak during public comment?
You want to go say something, Rachel Grace?
Tell us why you want to park.
Because cats are cute.
All right, that's good. You got my vote.
All right, 7, consent agenda A, please. Is there a motion to receive and file?
I'll make a motion to receive and file consent agenda items A, 1, and 2.
Support. Okay, motion made by Helen, seconded by Bourgeois. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And nay. Motion carries. 7B.
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda B,
1, 2, and 3, including paying the bills in the amount of $158,766.03.
Support?
Thank you. Motion made by
Yeah,
Borjo,
that was a nice discount.
seconded by Helmut. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Borjo,
Yes.
Helmut,
Yes.
Nicosia,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes. Motion carries. Okay, 8, unfinished or old business, the PUD project update.
Okay, here's some of my cards. I put that email in. For some reason it's not on the site. You didn't have it? So we have received a right-of-way permit request for the engineering company to run the power wiring for the streetlights from across underneath Stanton Street. They sent an initial packet in, haven't completed the form yet, but we expect them to run the power under and then connect to the street poles relatively soon. Doesn't mean that DTE will be out. We don't have a schedule for the installation of the poles themselves, but of course they're going to complete the wiring first. And other than that, that's all I have right now.
All right, any questions from council or comments? All right, we'll move on to 8B, Park Street Water Main Project. This is the construction staking on-site inspection administration contract.
Yep, and
consideration.
again, we awarded the project to Hutch Paving again, who's currently doing the parking lot here as well. They were a little bidder on that project. And now we have a road construction agreement per normal on some of our large area projects for on-site staking and construction and the amount of $63,250. And I've reviewed the contract and we had things in Mr. Davis asked us to put into the last one as well about some various things, liability and things like that. So I would just request that council approve that agreement.
Okay, I'll move to authorize the village manager to sign the Park Street construction engineering agreement with Road Professional Services.
Support?
Motion made by Cook, seconded by Helmut. Any discussion from council on this item?
I guess just on the Park Street, I've been talking to some of the residents over there and have received positive feedback, so I just wanted to send that along.
Yeah, we have the sanitary sewer work going on right now with a different contractor, but they're moving right along.
Yeah.
Are they doing the leads?
Pardon? Yeah. Yep. I think they might be finished by tomorrow or the following day.
Looks like it.
And they're going in there to serve last Thursday,
Mhm.
so. It's going well.
Good. Any other comments? Okay. Is there a dollar amount? Okay, so we'll do a roll call vote, please.
Kemp, Kemp,
Yes.
Nicosia,
Yes.
Helmut,
Yes.
Borjo,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes. Okay, motion carries. 8B, the Park Street Water Main Project, 8C, the contract extension consideration for DPW and Sons.
Yes, we had some money budgeted in this year, and some of the work had begun earlier last year, so with the previous budget. So we had some money left over, $70,000 range, so we would like to continue, if we can, for like about 16 homes, to have DPW and Sons continue that work, as we whittle away and getting that number down. They're about $3,000 per line. I'm sorry, $3,700 per line is about what they typically are. And great contractor, done great work, good feedback. So I would just like to extend that contract for the work to be performed yet in May and June.
So that's 16 additional buildings to remove the goosenecks from?
Yep.
Okay.
No, just from the curb stop in, goosenecks on the main.
Okay.
So this is the galvanized line. There is no lead involved in this. It's the previously connected lead version.
Okay.
So it's already copper and everything over to the curb stop valve. So from there into the home.
So this is not
part of our lead and copper.
It is. These aren't part of the whole complete removal of the main and everything.
I just wanted Randy to hear that this is money we're spending on an unfunded state mandate.
It's useless to do anything about it. No?
Make a motion to extend our current agreement with DPW and Sons to replace the
You
service
can work on
leads.
it when you get there.
Would you stop talking? At 16 additional homes for the amount not to exceed $79,000 to be paid for out of 591-556-970-000.
Support?
Thank you. Motion made by Helmut, seconded by Borjo. Any discussion?
On I'm in favor of this. I think we need to try to knock as many of these out as possible for our residents, so that's how I'm going to vote.
You guys are doing well on your percentage.
Yeah, I think we've done a great job. We're way ahead of really any community that I'm aware of in Oakland County.
You're ahead of anyone
So,
that I deal with.
yeah, that's great. And DPW and Sons, I've heard really good feedback on too, just especially with having to get inside people's homes and reconnect stuff at the meter, so.
The number one complaint is the contractors. You guys have a very good contractor. Don't let that contractor.
That's what
tell
we
you.
want to feed a little bit of something this year.
Yeah,
So-
Yeah.
don't let that contractor slip away.
Any questions or further discussion by council? Hearing none, roll call vote please.
Helmut,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
Bordeaux,
Yes.
Nicosia,
Yes.
Cook.
Yes. Okay, motion carries. On to new business. We have the proposed resolution 2404, approval of the budget for fiscal year 24-25. And we had our public hearing on this. Joe, is there anything you want to go through on?
The one memo, single page memo I put on your desk tonight, because I just wrapped up the last few days, is about the water and sewer rates to the residents. We had our discussions at our April 30th budget meeting, or workshop. We settled on a $5 per month increase for the resident home for water. Again, we have allowed this, couple $1 million worth of work to do. We have not raised rates in years. This will help us replenish some of that funding that's going out the door. And then we hadn't really nailed and discussed a lot about the sanitary sewer fund. I have in the budget now a $4 a month increase. Modest, but again, I have the prepayments that we've made in the last couple of years. So in 2020, we did a bond prepayment of a little over $492,000, which would have cost $621,000 had we paid it over time, so it saved us about $124,000 in interest. And then last year, in 2023, we paid $92,476 for a prepayment of a bond, which would have cost $136,000 in payments, so it saved us another $43,000 in interest. So those prepayments, though, have taken $580,000 or so out of our fund balance. So it's just time for us to replenish a little bit, and $4 a month, it won't replenish it quickly, but it's about $5,600 per month per year. And again, those rates haven't increased in many years either. So that's what's in this budget that we hadn't had nailed down at the last workshop, the $4 a month sewer. This is only village rates. It has nothing to do with the county might come next year and the following years. We know some of those for the county system are coming in the future years. And there will be another bond being sent to us, I've heard sometime in June, for the larger county operation maintenance, and then further work. We'll have the opportunity to do prepay to save some interest on those as well. One of the bonds that's coming, maybe even the second one later towards this year, these would be happening for the following years. It may not make sense to prepay because there's a state water revolving fund setback or a prepayment credit going towards that, and the interest is pretty low. So on that one, we might just go along with the bond payments, because it might make sense over the long haul, but the other one will have an opportunity to prepay and save some money as well.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
The water and sewer rates,
Yes,
those are adopted by ordinance, right?
they are part of ordinance.
So we have to have a first and second public hearing.
Yes, but we want to make sure budget for them, then we can,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that would be handled separate. No, you're right.
I'm reading this like,
Yeah.
we can't do that. Okay.
But I just want to let you know what's in the budget, and we have to adopt the budget that May.
Right, but you're right on the ordinance.
These will go into effect.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2024-2025 budget with the new rates for water and sewer as presented, which adopts resolution number 2404.
Second? Okay, motion made by Helen, seconded by Cook. Any discussion by council, questions?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't think that, I don't like us increasing our bills, period. I think the reality of this is, though, is that we're dealing with increased rates and costs, which is leading to this increase. And some of it we have control over in certain respects, and we don't in others. And I think that The unfortunate part is like if we kick this down the road, our fund's gonna be in that much worse shape come 2-3 years from now. And then also, the amount that we're gonna have to pay into it at that time with that increase is actually going to be more to make up the difference. So this is a hard decision, and without some increase in our actual revenue, and we've heard ideas of that here, I don't think that we necessarily have a choice. This has to be done because the inflation is going to be there, at least at regular rates, and we have to be able to make up for that somehow. So this is a tough one, but I think the right thing to do right now is to fix it now, and put less in now so that we can gain more later. And so this is a seed I think that we do have to plant.
I do agree. I think we should be doing a little bit each year. Like you mentioned, if you don't do anything for years and years like we've done, and you keep on doing that, then all of a sudden, you know, we're not going to be able to prepay things and save hundreds of $1,000s, and we're not going to be able to have money if something happens to the system to be able to fix it. Also with the mandates from the state with lead copper rules, having to replace this private service line, you want to be able to do the water main and the road at the same time. If that is reaching probably closer to ends of useful lives as well, and so the most efficient is to do it all at once. And so I agree too that this is something that's reasonable for now and will take into account affordability down the road. So, any other comments or thoughts before we call the motion? To a vote? Hearing none, a roll call vote, please.
Cook?
Yes.
Kemp?
Yes.
Nicosia?
Yes.
Halbach?
Yes.
Bordeaux?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Resolution is adopted. The next resolution on the agenda is the delinquent utility billing and violations proposed resolution that we had a hearing on earlier as well. I'll move to adopt proposed resolution 2405 to include the delinquent specials to be placed on the 2024 tax roll.
Support.
Motion made by Cook, seconded by Kemp. Any discussion on this one?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
could you, in your motion, add the Exhibit A that has the itemized list?
Sure. Including, do you want me just to
your-
modify my motion to
Yes.
include Exhibit A?
Yes, please.
Sure. Yep. Do you support that amended motion? Okay. Thank you. Okay, any discussion, questions? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote, please.
Bordeaux?
Yes.
Halbach?
Yes.
Nicosia?
Yes.
Kemp?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes. Motion carries. 9C, the special event application 2402 for the American Legion Memorial Day Parade.
So they have all the pertinent information in there. Chief is aware of it. Chief's on page with all their requests. It's in a smaller venue, and then they come down, go down to the cemetery, so it doesn't take up a whole lot of time and effort on their end.
Are they asking for the deposit to be waived?
No, they just didn't include it. And that's what my note was. They didn't ask for it to be waived, but they didn't include it, so that's something we can either get with them, or we could preemptively waive that if you like. We, you know, or we could go back and give us a check. We usually hold a check and give it right back to them anyways.
Yeah. It's just I'm inclined just to waive it.
This is the same route as last year, I mean, nothing's different, right? I'll make a motion to approve the special events application for the Oxford American Legion for Memorial Day Parade and to waive the application fee. Deposit.
Yeah. Okay, I'll second. Motion made by Hellman, seconded by Cook. Any discussion?
What's a deposit for?
It's for a park, they need the park trashed or broken. $100 deposit, and then,
We give it back.
then we give it back to them. We've not had to get into anybody's deposit to date.
Good track record. Okay.
Especially in current week.
All right, hearing no further discussion, approval to approve this event application. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nay? Motion carries. Next is a special event application for Justin's Nature Walk.
Motion to approve the special event application 24-03 for Justin's Nature Walk on June 8th, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Support.
Okay, motion made by Borjo, seconded by Helmuth. Any discussion?
Obviously, I don't have a problem with the event in general, but in terms of parking, where are the food trucks going to be? Because I mean, the
She
parking lot
indicated there had a
is-
slew, she indicated like a few pop-up things right by White Pines there along the trail.
I think it's just one.
Okay.
And this has gone through, because it's on the Pauline Trail Manager Council approved it a couple months ago. But then when they got where they wanted to go off the trail a little bit, it kind of got into our domain about them using the parking lot and things like that might be on our area along there. They obviously, part of the agreement is nothing west of that parking lot, that old grassy triangle, no events or activities can take place there. That's part of the initial PUD agreement.
Okay.
But along the trail along White Pine Coffee, where they might have a couple pop-up tents. vendors.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nay? Motion carries, that event application is approved. Next is the special event application 2404, the March with Oxford at Centennial Park.
Is there any other scheduled events that we have for this one?
I don't believe so, because initially they had put it in, they didn't have a date, and they got us in, that's why there's a separate application, second application. Because, and I put the initial one in because you could read it better, it got degraded each time it got printed out, rescanned. But I don't think we have any,
There's no conflict.
yeah, no conflicts with the park there.
What date is it?
It's 6/22.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve special event application 24-4, March with Oxford at Centennial Park on 6/22.
Support.
Motion made by Borjo, seconded by Helmuth. This one does require our police to, and so we're good with chiefs aware, obviously, of that. We did it last year, I think it went really smooth. So, okay. Great. Any questions? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nay? That application is approved. Moving to 9F. Fulton County Tactical Training Consortium Contract Amendment and Update.
And of course, I sent it to Mr. Davis for his review. He sees no problem with it because, as he stated to me, it's an Oakland County contract.
Can't change it.
Yeah.
Well, we've executed this before, and
Yeah.
it's in the same format. Unless there's a glaring catastrophe in the wording that won't normally ask the county to change the contract, so it's acceptable for execution.
Great. I'll move to approve or authorize signature of the Oakland County Tactical Consortium Agreement. It's amendment and update.
Support.
Motion by Cook, seconded by Helmuth. Any discussion?
So this is for the dispatch services, and we did have a little bit of an increase this year. What was the reason for that again? Was it just due to FTE salary increases?
I think more than likely, the cost of board increases. We have the agreement, it's typically a 3-year agreement, and it's gone up a little bit each year.
Okay. The service itself, though, is still amazing service, and
Yeah, this is different from dispatch. This is like a task force consortium that we're all involved in, that we all come together and help each other out in case there's kind of a major incident.
You guys,
Something that we all
you get together and train a little bit on was
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
moved out for in case of.
Yeah, it's not directly tied to the
Right.
dispatch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Any further questions, comments?
Is it valuable, chief?
Oh, yes, yeah, it is. It's a great networking system, and we all just bounce ideas and training off each other. So,
Fantastic.
Great, thank you. Okay, could you call the roll, please?
Alba,
Yes?
Nicosia,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yeah.
Cook,
Yes.
Bordeaux,
Yes.
Can't figure out what we're calling roll, but okay.
I'm just making sure you're all awake. All right, G, public street striping quote and recommendation for major streets.
So again, this is something that, you know, with our policy, this is over $5,000, so we would bring it to council. The problem is PK Contracting has grown and bought out so many people, we're having a hard time even finding other vendors. You've seen PK Contracting around, they do work for NDOT, they do a lot of work all over the state. They're local, they have local garages north of town. We have 7,700 budgeted in line striping on major streets, and their quote was 728126. So I would just like permission to go forward with that quote.
All right, one of my personal pet peeves is I feel like all line striping has become terrible. Like as soon as it's raining or snowing and it just, you can't see it anymore. Is this the same paint that we always
They use an MDOT spec paint,
Okay.
so I don't think they choose the paint per se. It's worked on public streets.
It's not water.
So maybe that's mine.
That's what happens when you get old, you can't see at night.
Maybe that's it, right?
Right? Sorry, why not?
Don't
Yeah,
make it
yeah,
for me.
except for it wet.
Sounds downhill after 30 days.
But the one other company we used to call in town, we called them, and of course, now PK owns them.
So it's almost approximately 10 miles of striping though that they're doing for.
I think on our local streets, it might be 7-ish and a little over 9. I'm sorry,
And then
local
parking lots,
local is
right?
like 9 something, and major about 7, I think.
But that's multiple lines per rep.
Yeah.
How long did you have the bid out?
Don just typically calls out and reaches out to them. Again, there's very few contractors around to do it because some of these bigger companies have bought out the place, Grand Blanc, bought out the other one, where it was in Clarkson or something, that they're just not around, they're hard to find them anymore, smaller companies.
So it's a little different than doing a road bid where we put it out there, we just make the calls.
Right, there's a lot of contractors who do that kind of work. But
Okay.
the specialized equipment, large equipment stuff, there's not many of them.
Okay, that makes sense.
The last one was in 2 years ago, and RS, right, I think it was, and that's when they bought out.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract with PK Contracting for restriping of all major streets in the village for the amount of $7,281.26.
Support.
Motion made by Bordeaux, seconded by Helmut. Any discussion?
How, I guess, so I think we're paying like 14 cents a linear foot. Is that like, how close is that to the past? Okay.
Because, you know, Don handles all those bids and something to tell me how much it is. I looked at the project and contractor, they did all the striping work for MDOT throughout year 2.
Okay.
So they're used to bidding out these municipal
Yeah,
contracts,
so
they
it's
do a
probably
lot of them.
fairly
For
commodity.
county, yeah.
Okay.
Because again, some roads have your line on the right as well, not all. Then you have, you know, so sometimes you look at lane miles, it's a little different amount of striping line.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Kemp,
Yes.
Nicosia,
Yes.
Bordeaux,
Yes.
Alba,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes. Motion carries. Next, 9H, the parking ordinance amendment consideration. Chief Solo, would you mind giving your thoughts on this for us?
Yes.
Good evening, everybody, council. For years, we've had issues with residents that like to use Lakes Edge as their drop-off point for the kids for the middle school, so that creates a lot of traffic on Lakes Edge Drive. A lot of turning in and out of people's driveways, lights in the windows, knocking over mailboxes, running over sprinkler heads. Just a lot of noise and traffic that's unnecessary. Now, we've thought of many things. I mean, I at one point wanted to block the roads so people couldn't go down there, but you can't do that, it's a public road. Because I do feel for those folks that live down there and have all this traffic, so we're trying to think of a way to, we put a sign up that says no parking, standing, stopping. You put a sign here, and they're just gonna go up here. You put a sign here, they're just gonna go up here, and you're gonna have signs all the way down the road. So we're thinking of maybe putting a sign up. I think Joe and I discussed this as far as Lakes Edge residents only, at the beginning of the street at Oxford Lakes Drive. One sign to let people know this is not a drop-off point for, I mean, there's a way that we can word that. That'll make it easier and for people to see when they first pull down Lakes Edge instead of having all these signs and hopefully deterring people from dropping their kids off there. Now you have some that have talked to me that feel they're entitled because if they're Oxford Lakes residents, they feel that they're entitled to be able to bring their kids there and drop them off. Well, if you don't live on Lakes Edge, you really shouldn't be entitled, then drop them off. And nobody wants to get in the school line. I mean, that's the bottom line, because it takes more time. So it's just easier for them to go on. We got people that come in from the Drainer entrance down up Oxford Lakes Drive and down Lakes Edge. So it's not necessarily just Lakes Edge residents, it's people from all over that are coming from the south end that, hey, I'm not gonna go to Lakeville Road and go into the school line. I'm gonna take them down Lakes Edge and drop them off down there. So we're trying to think of a way that we can do that and deter folks from dropping kids off down that street. Then also, I talked to a resident the other day where the signs are at that says no stopping, standings, was it standing, parking, stop. They've got them out in front of their residents, and if they want to have people over or have an outing at their home, then they can't park there because the sign's there. It doesn't seem fair to those folks that they can't park in the street as long as it's legal if they have people over, because the whole idea of having those signs there is to deter people from being a student drop-off. We've reached out to the schools, we've done everything we possibly can to try to get cooperation. We've written tickets, and people just keep getting further and further down, or they come when we're not there, so they work around it. That's just how they do it. So you're still gonna get some that are gonna still flow down there. So when we're not tied up, we have a car down there, just like we do in the other zones, as much as we can to try to deter that. And the folks do appreciate that down there, but it's not enough, and we need to try to do more than what we can to try to deter folks from going down there. And we're looking for any suggestions. That's the best suggestion we can come up with, as far as maybe a sign at the beginning there that says Lakes Edge residents only. So I'm looking for any ideas that we could legally do on a public road to deter folks from having that as a student drop-off, to keep peace for those folks that live on Lakes Edge by the school.
So, I'm sorry.
Is the school agreeable to having us put a sign up on that fence near that gate opening? I mean, it would be only the kids are gonna see it, but.
As long as there's an opening in that fence, I mean, you're allowed to flow in and out of there. So I don't see taking that away, because there's sidewalks and you can walk in and out of there. It's just a matter of the traffic that's constant in and out, and pulling in and out of driveways. And one of them had a sick husband that was having a tough time, and cars constantly coming in and lights shining in the house, and it was just really tough for them during this process. And they put cones up in their driveway to deter people from turning around in their driveways. And they shouldn't have to do that. But again, it's a legal road, so we're kind of in a tough situation as far as.
Chief, following up on Allison's good comment there, is that access to the school necessary?
I think it's it's supposed to be for an emergency.
So it could be a breakaway game, right?
Madam President, may I? There's two different areas, Bobby. So the one is a street that goes to middle school, where is a breakaway gate, and there isn't a cul-de-sac there.
That's what I saw.
That's the one that has signage a little bit either side of it. Way at the further end, there's a sidewalk walk through the fence that anybody can just walk through there and walk out to Lakeville Road or down to the elementary school. So that would never be impeded by walking traffic. So my suggestion is perhaps we install a no trucks or no dead end, I think, because a lot of trucks were coming down there and finding out they're navigation system took them the wrong way a couple years ago. So we installed a sign as you come into the subdivision to turn right down Lake's Edge, that it's a dead-end road.
That same resident I talked to said that that has helped tremendously by putting a sign there.
Yes, that has helped. So we were considering, what if we put a sign there, no parking on Lake's Edge Drive between the hours of 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. and 4 p.m.
You got it.
Just to eliminate, that was one of the things we were thinking about. Couldn't, you know,
What if you said owner parker, property owner parking only?
It's already, you're not supposed to park on the right side, you're only supposed to park on the side without the fire hydrant,
Right.
and all those people are lined up on the side with the fire hydrant, I say just give them $100 tickets and be done with the day, but, I mean.
I don't know if they're parking on the fire hydrant side or not. You
No,
guys
yeah,
see that?
they are on my side of the
Okay.
street, which is the fire hydrant, and I can't park in front of my house, it's not legal. I have to park across, I have to park on the other neighbor's side, across the street.
And I'm sure if we're not around, they'll do
They'll
a
still
quick
be
drop
there.
off and do it.
Chief,
I was thinking,
for the record, do you view what's happening there now as a safety issue?
No, necessarily it's a safety issue. I think it's definitely a
Traffic issue?
it's a traffic issue, but it's a peace issue. It's a hindrance for those folks that live down there that shouldn't have to deal with it.
Are there any fire issues? The access not being available, or?
Well, I think, yeah. Chief, do you have any ideas to that entrance?
Obviously, it
there?
would be a problem if we have a fire call come in during
Right.
school time.
Right.
That would be a huge problem.
Right. With all the park, right.
Yeah, that's a huge concern for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
So that should be in our record.
yeah,
Yeah.
they can't be blocking the access there, so, and I know the school encouraged, you know what I mean, it's open for,
Right.
you know, folks to be able to
Yeah.
drop off.
That's exactly.
I mean, I'm in favor for anything that we can do. I mean, I've received correspondence from residents on the street too who, you know, like it shouldn't,
No.
that would be very frustrating if that were me, if I
Yeah.
constantly had to line up outside of my house where I couldn't even get in and out of my driveway or cars, and doors slamming, you know,
Right.
certain hours of the day, so.
But
I don't know what we can do
We have to
legally, but-
respect the rights of the owners and their guests,
Mhm.
so we can't have,
So
I
owner
don't think we
parking
can have a
only
blanket, no parking. I mean, it seems like it has to be property owner parking only.
during certain times, oh,
Is that legal?
school.
I don't know.
I
drop
can't
off.
tell, I can't tell you you can't park in front of my house.
We're just kicking it around, I'm just trying to,
Yeah.
I'm trying to establish, is there a record to support action? I think the chief has helped on that, and I think you've helped on that, chief.
Yeah.
There's a problem. Now, you have the right to have traffic control orders to address problems, and that can impact public roads. But I don't know if we can, I don't know, Maureen,
So-
if we can restrict the way we're talking.
I'm not saying that this is the way we handle it, but like in the city of Chicago, I lived there for 15 years, like they have individual neighborhoods and they have parking passes. And so that's one way that they still hand out tickets, but then they print out these little paper parking passes and they only, you know, the village or, in that particular case, the local government in the neighborhood sells them for, you know, $1 for
So like
pack of
permit
10.
parking only?
Yeah, like just paying for the paper, but then they put them on the dashboard, and if they're out there, they don't get a ticket. And then if you park in the neighborhood and you don't have, you know, that neighborhood's sticker or piece of paper, you get a ticket.
and the sub already does something like that with wristbands for being at the park. You have to have a wristband or a guest pass to be at the beach and park, so they could do something for stickers for parking.
But that's private property. That's a public street.
And legally, as long as you're not blocking a mailbox or somebody's driveway or a fire hydrant, you should be able to park there.
Can't we just say no
Unless
school
it's-
drop off?
Well, that is signed to not be on that side.
So,
of the road.
road not to be used for drop-off, is that what you're,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
What if at the,
Yeah, no, that's,
you put a sign that said that school pickup and drop off can only be at the parking lot at the park?
If it gets
Make
too,
the
if
kids
the
walk
sign gets
down
too
there.
wordy,
Well, then you're gonna have a problem with the people that live by the park there that are gonna have all that traffic in here too.
Yeah,
So
my opinion on this too is if we work with the school and they say, we ask them where they want their students dropped off, and then we put
Then they work with the parents.
Right. And
The
then-
school doesn't care where you drive.
Yeah.
Unofficially, that was always an
Yeah.
option.
Yeah, what about the no school drop off? Could it be like in our local ordinance, so we
We
have?
can take a look at all, these are all good ideas, by the way. Joe and I were hoping to get some feedback on this.
Yeah.
That sounds like the best one so far, I think, no school drop off. We can
Vote
Yeah, great, yeah.
The alternates in Chicago.
No loading or
it's a
unloading.
revenue stream.
Yeah, children.
No, it is getting rid of that guys out there today. That's nice, but yeah.
And it's been like that for years.
Yeah.
And we've,
What sign is out there already that seems to be helping?
Stopping the big trucks from coming down and taking out my neighbor's front yard because
Yeah,
they
they
got
try to
stuck
turn
in it
around.
turning around.
the trucks will come down Blasby Street or from Drainer and they get into the sub and it's like, and they don't know there's not an outlet there.
Oh, so
And they make that turn and you've got this big 18-wheeler that's going down
Signage
no man's
like that,
land.
something
Yeah,
like
so.
Oh.
So now they're like, oh, okay, well, I can't go that way.
Because on our GPS, it looks like you can get to the end of that unbelievable road.
Yeah, right.
I think we need to look at what is legal, what can we restrict and how. And whether or not you can do this by ordinance or by the traffic control order of some sort. We'll have to get back to the council on this.
I was thinking worst case scenario, the road does technically have a circle at the end of it.
Right.
So there is no need for anybody, if they absolutely are gonna go in there, they should not be turning around in people's driveways. That, to me, that's you're on my private property to turn your car around when the road is literally made for you to go to the end, circle, and come back without
Right.
stopping. You shouldn't have to stop on that road.
It's too
Just
far.
drop your kids off while the car's moving.
Exactly, that's what you're supposed to do, that's what my brother did, and I held my foot.
All right.
Yeah,
any
well,
other-
we have to look at this.
Okay.
Good ideas, though, thank you.
So you'll take all the great ideas and find something that works.
We'll work with the chief and chief.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Chiefs.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
Appreciate it. Yes.
I'm a little further on that, I was also kind of wondering if we should consider speed bumps.
We have them, they're not a good option at all. Terrible for plowing, terrible for plowing, terrible for the patients in the ambulance, and really hard on fire trucks.
Is there any like really annoying thing besides that,
The speed,
when we're
the
doing?
radar gun in the officer's car is a much better option.
No, I was just thinking of
We
something
guys
that
have
would
good signs.
encourage people not to go through the cut through when we do Lakes Edge Drive, or the Oxford Drive, if there was something we could do to it.
And that's part of what Bob has described here and Lowe's brought up. These are public streets, paid for and funded by gas tax. You know, you're limited as what kind of
Yeah,
restrictions
we
you have.
have some issues we got.
Is that why the sub can't put a,
Yes. The gates. We had
the gates that they desperately want, that everybody
Yeah,
talks
we-
about every couple months?
We researched
Yeah.
that was interesting. All right.
Okay, so it'll come back to us at the next, we'll keep it on the agenda,
Yeah.
kind of rolling item,
Yeah.
so try to make some progress. Great, thank you. Next is 9I, the DDA vacancy appointment. So in your packet, you have an application from Holly Pfeiffer. A DDA came about the vacancy from the resignation of Dorothy Johnston quite a while ago now, months. And then received multiple applications. According to Michigan law, the DDA has a majority of folks serving that have an interest in the DDA district, a legal property interest in some way, or an employee or an agent of someone who has an interest. And so that's one reason why I'm recommending Holly. She is a business owner in the DDA district. She also is extremely involved. She serves on the promotion committee currently. According to Kelly, Holly volunteers for most everything. So very active in our community already. I think she would make a really good addition to the DDA and fill that vacant spot that we have. Longtime Oxford resident, has great experience. So there was one other business owner who applied. All the rest didn't have what would be required under the Michigan law to fill this seat. And so I will move to appoint Holly Pfeiffer to the vacant DDA board position.
Support.
And for however long that term
Terry
is.
looked it up today, I think it's to the end of 24?
26.
26, I'm sorry, yeah, right, 26.
Okay. Great, so her term would end 2026.
What does it mean that I currently serve on this board and it's a promotion? What's the,
It's the promotions committee of the DDA. It's one of the subcommittees of the
is
DDA.
Subiana, okay,
Yep,
thank you.
yep.
Make a motion to accept Holly Piper for the DDA vacancy appointment.
Didn't you just do that?
Thank
We
you.
already did that. Oh
I
my
did,
gosh,
okay.
I'm sorry, I was so thinking in my own world, like what's happening?
No, I think, motion made by Cook
You
to
did,
appoint
you said it too,
Thomas
right next to me, I
second.
remember. Jeez.
Any comments? Yes,
How does Kelly feel about it?
Kelly approves.
Okay.
Thank you for the question. Any other comments or questions? Okay, we'll do a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nay? Motion carries.
I think Phil was already.
Thank you. Next up is the DDA director salary consideration. This is subject to village council approval per the village charter section 22-4. So the organization committee recommended to the DDA board 3% wage increase for our executive director, and then the board agreed with that recommendation to forward to council. So we're just looking for action to officially approve that wage increase.
Is this the only DDA wage increase? They have how many employees too?
This is the only one that's required to go in front of village council,
Oh, okay, so the other one would be Kelly's.
assistant director.
Okay. And these are the accurate numbers?
Yes.
I make a motion to accept the DDA's director's salary, of a 3% wage increase for Kelly Westbrook.
Thank you. Motion made by Bordeaux, second. Cook.
Support, I can support it.
Next, yeah, thank you. Any further discussion?
I have a question. What, these have been pretty substantial increases. What's the total increase since she started here? Is it like 38, 32%?
Do we know?
Can I answer this or no?
Like 60 was the starting wage, it was the interim period, and then it started at 60, I think.
So 60 to 71.
Yeah, I think the first contract year.
I think it was lower than that,
It wasn't.
unless it was prorated. So
Is that
It was a
right,
small.
It was, yeah, so
Interim
I
period for a
started
few
at
months.
60, and this still will put me at 71, 3.5 years in.
So you think it was like a half? How
There
many
was
months?
a salary for interim director, I believe, and then once she was appointed to the director position, it was 60.
I just know we pay some of our other employees and the work that they do. And I think it far exceeds the work that she does, and she's getting very close to that wage amount without throwing names out there. And I just think it's a lot for our DDA to pay on an annual basis.
Any other comments? I think it's well-deserved and very competitive, and we're looking to retain the incredible talent that we have at the DDA, so I think it's necessary and actually low, so that's just my opinion. Any other discussion?
Well, you know, I've been a big supporter of paying properly, and I don't think enough companies do it, and enough places do it. And, so, that's kind of my thinking. I'm happy to see the numbers accurate, though.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I do have something to say. I think kind of seeing, some of the things that have gone on at other DDAs and looking at the talent that we have, obviously, I'm in support of, the performance that we've gotten out of Kelly and everything that the DDA does. I think that, 3% in comparison to what's been going on out there is reasonable. I think it's actually, this came from the board, right? right? So they've already talked about this. I'm sure everybody would also like higher than that, but I think this is reasonable in my opinion. But we obviously need to take into consideration all of our budget, right? So I think that, like, to me, I think this makes a lot of sense with, kind of inflation and what's going on out there. But I know that money's tight, so at my particular business, for example, there were no raises this year, just because of some of the things going on in the economy. So to me, I look at this as something that I can get behind. I don't think it's necessarily excessive, but I also hear Mo's comment in that. I think that we have to be cognizant of, what we're paying, considering that this is the taxpayers' money. So I don't take this lightly, but I think that it's appropriate.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Alma?
Yeah.
Kemp?
Yes.
Borjo?
Yes.
Nicosia?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes, motion carries. 9K, the MDOT Category B project grant opportunity for 2025.
Okay, so you have some information regarding the grant itself, and I give you a list of the cities and villages that were approved last year. And again, these are smaller ones, so cities 5,000 or less, or I'm sorry, 10,000 less population. If you look on the very back page, there's a map of the water service lines. Really, that's what's driving these grants. And they encourage you to do these in coordination with another infrastructure project. So at the very back, I have the map of the water, the 11 capital road map, basically. I highlighted in orange the roads, Hudson and Denison, that we've done last 2 years ago, and then I highlighted in orange the Park Street project that we're doing currently. I was of two different minds when I was looking at this. I thought, well, if we go with a smaller project, we might be more successful in the grant. But again, keep in mind that it's a maximum of $250. You can't include any of your engineering costs and things like that. It's only the infrastructure part related right to the street. So if we did a small portion, such as Davison Street, it would be a lesser grant, lesser benefit. So it's kind of two different ways to go. We have Moyer Street, which is, you can see, is virtually the same as the Park Street project we're doing right now, lengthwise. So cost-wise, we'd have a pretty good idea of that cost. Denison, we could go just over to Park Street, which is one of the, if you go back one page, last year when we were deciding on which street we wanted to do in 2024, we had estimates on Denison, which is only from Hudson over to Pontiac, a smaller amount, and then we had the Park Street project. And I remember, last year we're like, hey, let's do a bigger project next year and get ahead of it. So we did. So we do have an idea of what that costs, and this is only the paving part. That's what I'm taking into account there. So a smaller portion of Denison would be around 122,000. I'm sure it's gonna be a little bit more each year. Now it'd be almost 2 years old that we would get to this. We have to kind of nail down which street we'd like to approach to apply for the grant. And maybe small, it might give us a better chance of getting it, but it would limit our benefit of the grant, right? Because it's based on the match. If you look at East Street, just north of the verdict up there, that's a major street. That's not eligible. It's only eligible for local streets. But all of the other ones are on red on the map, eligible streets. Again, the chance to do a longer version, you have Moyers Street, and then you could, even further longer one would be the Denison Street, which is from Hudson all the way over to Jersey. That's a little bit bigger than I would like to do, because we have to also take into account the water fund affording to do the water main work. So I would suggest we could maybe do Denison or Moyers. Now, the only reason I'm bringing the other ones up is because I haven't heard any people clamoring to say, well, do Davison Street. There's only about 5 houses on Davison Street. Division Street, same thing up in the north, that runs north and south there, the northeast area. And only a few houses on that as well. And if you take East Street out because it's a major, that pretty much brings us back down to the larger streets in the southwest part of the village. So I guess we kind of would have to determine, do we want to do a block from Denison, from Hudson over to Pontiac, a smaller type project, or do we want to do the bigger one and take our chances on the grant? Again, I think if we get the grant, which is very competitive, but if you look, they try to spread these out geographically as well. And I think there was only one grant in this current year that's happening right now in Oakland County. So I think that might go well, because if you get one this year, then you can't next. So, and I think it was in Milford, if you look in the county. So, matter of fact, it wasn't even in the first round, it went to the second round. They had some money left over, I think. It was Oakland County, yeah, City of Milford, grant amount 176, I think about a possible maximum of 250. So a modest sized project. But again, you get points for, you can apply for a grant just for a street project, to help in the maintenance of the street by incorporating it with a water fund, gives you better scoring. I don't know their scoring. I don't see that type of grant. You don't go through it and see certain points for that section, certain points for that section. So we would have to work on the estimates, everything, and break it back for next month if we determine which street, which we should, I guess. And it's, good part is we have one more meeting to confirm and approve everything, because it's due the next day. But really all we have to do then is approve the resolution that the state puts together for us. We could have all of the numbers and everything dialed in. So it's a matter of just uploading the documents the following day. As a matter of fact, this year, for $400, Roe would even do a lot of the legwork and the grant for us. That's the technical stuff.
I just,
And then,
sorry.
Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. No, I was just gonna complain, so
oh,
continue.
Yeah.
I can't read a thing, it's so
She's
tiny.
in her 50s.
yeah, I could have printed it in sort of larger size, but again, those are basically, the lines, you can see the length of them, for the most part. I can tell you which streets are. Again, the red lines are the ones with the old water main that have the lead gooseneck, that the whole main needs replaced, and then from there all the way into the home.
Right.
Now, every now and then, we do have a homeowner that's already replaced their service lead from the curb stop in. So for those, when we go and check, then we wouldn't be doing the main and the lead over to the curb stop. But those are the remaining sections of old water main that need to be replaced.
I like the idea of lawyers because streets jumps.
It's practically dirt.
Yeah. And it has the lead service lines and the water main work that needs to be done.
You're not gonna get an argument from me on the non-lawyers.
No, this is data, that's what's cool.
Oh, that's the way, okay.
And so that we kind of have an idea, because that almost mirrors to the linear foot of where we're at right now in Park Street.
Right, so we kind of have an idea of what the cost would be,
Yeah.
so that's helpful. Any other thoughts from council? I heard talking down there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I will say, I do live on Moyers, so that's nice, but at the same time, Denison Street's pretty bad. And so my heart goes out to the homeowners on that street. So I'd say it's probably, in my opinion, one of those two streets.
Yeah. My only thing on Denison would be, I wouldn't try to do the whole stretch all the way down to Jersey. I would say from Pontiac to Hudson, it's a smaller one. Again, because the water line, it takes the brunt of it. Of that 770,000, about 550 was the water. About 220 was the road.
Yeah.
So, if we can get them to cover a lot of road work, we still have a lot of water fund costs to absorb. And by stretching out even farther, just drives that number up. So I would say, if you did Denison, I would say let's do between Hudson and Pontiac.
I was told something about, and I feel like it might have been a part of Denison we already did, but specifically about a homeowner and their water, feeling like their water pressure was off. Have we had any complaints about any of these areas specifically about water?
Yeah, and typically that's when they have the old galvanized lead, which is corroded over the years and it barely allows any water to come through. One of them was Bill Dunn. He was on Denison there, right near Hudson, and he was very happy. And we've had a couple others too that they were in bad shape. That once we replaced that, it was good.
Or do you know of any of these stretches that have the most houses that need that?
No, it's pretty common and it's very similar. On those stretches of Denison and those stretches of Moyers, about the same.
Okay.
That east end of Moyers might be a little different because of the way the corners are. Some of them might be fed from mechanic. But yeah, and even going around doing the sections that the water main has been upgraded in the 90s, that's the new water main and the new copper lead going to the curb stop. A lot of those we're replacing are galvanized. So a lot of those folks that have galvanized problems with the road and filled up line are getting relief as well.
Mhm.
We've done a lot of those.
Okay. So you're saying if we did Moyer, we should be able to do the entire stretch. If we did Dennison, we'd probably have to just do one half of it and then the other
Yeah, I would
half.
extend it, where you have the new water main and stubbed out by the Emmanuel Church there,
Yeah,
that's already stubbed out pointing west on Denison, I would start there and continue to Pontiac, if you chose Denison.
For that reason, I vote Moyer. But I mean, we can't, we can't.
Yeah, again, this, and if we don't get the grant,
More people over.
Because
We're-
it hits
we're
more
not splitting
houses.
it.
yeah, it's 2 blocks instead of like.
But I would say,
Stretching 700 grand on
I mean, I don't object to either, frankly. I mean, they both need to be done. so.
and I think that one block of Dennison probably gets more cut through traffic than Moyer does.
Yeah.
I was thinking.
Yeah,
And this would be done outside of school year, right?
it's typically something about this time of year, you know, we would crank it up in June, July, August, that time frame. But if we, our goal is typically we try to get the design and engineering done over the winter, get it bid out in February for a summer project.
'Cause that's the road. What road is most used when you go from DA to OES?
Moyer.
Moyer. So
Is it?
Mhm.
That's
Oh,
what I thought.
Dennison
I
was,
drive back
okay.
and forth that way.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
because
it's
that's,
like
it's
a-
a mess of.
If we were to do the
timing.
project, we obviously would schedule
Days
it
here.
beyond school,
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
so to cut that down.
Easier.
And if we don't get the grant, we wouldn't be doing a
I was thinking,
local run of project here, because we just couldn't afford that cost on the local roads.
Yeah, no,
Yep.
We could pivot and do a East Street project, as long as the waterfront has, it, because East Street's major streets, and Major Streets has money, more money into it.
Gotcha.
We still could possibly do one next year if the waterfront, you know, because of the East Street being a major. It just, this grant is only eligible for local streets.
What's council's consensus? Should we try the grant opportunity for Moyer? And then if we don't get it, we're not doing Moyer because we don't have the money anyway. We'll pivot. But Moyer needs to be done. And then people can use beautiful new Park Street to cut through while Moyer's under construction.
Right.
So,
Do we need to decide our backup plan in this, or not at this
No, we
time?
pretty much have one shot, because I have to go prepare, get some estimates and bring them back to you and have it dialed in, ready to go on the 10th or 11th of this next month, I believe. And then they should do it 5 PM the next day. So basically, I'll be bringing you a complete package with a resolution dialed in with those numbers, and that's what we would submit.
Okay.
And then if we get it, great,
Yeah.
we'll do it 25, if not, we won't, because we won't be able to afford it. But the local roads, I think, is one more year of those bond payments, in that West Burdick Hill and then Edison Alley. There's one more year of those bond payments, which is 2/3 cost major, 1/3 cost local. And it's about 126,000 for bond payments, split 3 ways, or 1/3, 2/3. It's only about $42,000 that would, the local fund would be relieved of that annual payment. Still, we'll take it, $42,000. But that's been on that fund for many years, and we won't be able to do something next year on a local road because of the cost.
So you're looking for that motion tonight to
Yeah.
approve?
Or, yeah, just give me direction at least, and then we'll put together the bid pack, or the,
You're not approving it tonight, you're just giving.
Allowing.
yeah, give me direction which one,
Proceed with Moyer.
yeah, which one to prepare with.
Okay, so I'll move to allow the village manager and road professional services to prepare the MDOT category B grant application for water main replacement and street repaving in 2025 on Moyer Street between Pontiac and Mechanic.
Support.
we could do the stub end of Moyer also. Moyer actually goes west of,
No, because there's no water main down there. So we wouldn't automatically do that now. If you wanted to just pave that, you could. But that's what about past Justin's house, right? That's right, 300 feet maybe?
probably maybe 350.
I mean, it seems like you should just include it in the.
Because we wouldn't get into the intersection of Pontiac with this project. So we would have to start over the other side. So, yeah, we would stop at the curve, curving on Pontiac, which I don't know, a little bit maybe at the corner, but yeah, we would stop at the, when Moyer meets Pontiac, we wouldn't get into Pontiac.
Okay.
Pontiac's a major street, it's got,
Oh, this little thing, okay.
Little stuff.
Yeah. Okay, any further discussion? So we have a motion by Cook, seconded by Nicosia, I don't know who we've heard, Clerk Onika, but
Oh, thank you.
I think a couple people. Okay, roll call vote, please.
Nicosia?
Yes.
Borjo?
Yes.
Kemp? Yes. Talbot?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes. Motion carries, great. That'd be great if we got that.
Yeah.
Next is a potential closed session. Is it possible at this point to move it to the end of the agenda?
We always do.
We do, okay. Do we want to do that, closed session? Okay, do we make,
It'll be less than 5 minutes.
okay, but we can still put it at the end.
Put it at the end so we finish the agenda.
Right, okay. Do I need to make a motion to put it at the end, or we'll just keep going?
Just keep going.
Thank you. All right, there's no items removed from the consent agenda. Second opportunity for public comment. Would anyone like to speak during public comment? Round 2.
Evelyn, sit down.
I'll keep it short. I'll try. I know I'm very trying. Evelyn Archer, 750 Lakes Edge Drive. And regarding 9H, the Lakes Edge Drive parking ordinance amendment consideration, I think the issue is enforcement. And all the sign ideas are good, but the issue is how do we enforce it? And perhaps warnings to, first warning, second warning, third warning, then you start fining, I don't know. Or even community service for the student or the parent. And then regarding 9J.
She's so old, she's got a real wicked little smile.
Wink, wink, no. And then for 9J, DDA, director salary, I do think that, I appreciate you considering that, maybe 3% is a little bit high. However, the curb appeal of our downtown and the bang for the buck that we get out of DDA is amazing. And so I think it certainly is supported of the activities that we have and the talent, as you said. So I'm glad that you approved that. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any other public comment? Seeing none, we will go to committee reports. NODA.
Oh man, I don't think there was really much different that we talked about in the last meeting. Yeah, if anybody's going to them, wants to visit them, they are moved to the township for now. They have a lot of extra work, a lot of extra employees. They've had to take up the conference space to turn them into working areas, cubicle areas for dispatching and so forth. So our meetings are over at the township until further notice if you plan on attending. But there wasn't much that I can remember to tell you about at this point. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Planning Commission and Cable Commission?
The planning commission met last week. I was actually in attendance, part of town. They approved a drive-through for pre-orders at Rush Dispensary on Church Street and denied a sign request at 51 South Washington. The Cable Commission met last week also. It was pretty much a standard business meeting, but there was some exciting news under the manager's report. I thought they've had 1 million views on YouTube for the cable channel and over 20,000 visits on Facebook. I thought those numbers were pretty impressive.
That's great. That's amazing. Mo, do you know, for the drive-through, is that something that is allowed under the ordinance? They just have to show certain, plan for that, or?
They had to go through the site plan process
Okay.
again, show where the drive-through is gonna be, the driveway. There's some questions on the turn radius at the back of the building that we're checking with the engineers on. They didn't get a ton of time to review that little corner. And it's gonna be pre-orders, it's not gonna be a McDonald's sign,
Right.
order pounders, quarter ounces.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be like that. You have to call ahead, an internet order, place it, choose drive-through, show your ID, pay for it, they will hand you your bag.
Gotcha. Interesting.
And it's around the back.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there any residents around that area?
There are not, Industrial Machine Products to the south. What is the business at the corner? Used to be the archery place.
Well, Amy has the parking lot next to me.
Polyam.
Probably into the south.
Pollyant Trails back there.
Okay.
Bridge.
Over there, okay, yeah, yeah.
Thank you. The DDA, would you mind giving an update?
Thank you for approving the raise. I know that it is extra money from the budget, but I just know that, you know, the average DDA director is only in their position for 2.4 years. And I've made it 3.5, and it's been wonderful, but it's also been very difficult. And that's because we answer not only to a board, but we also try to have the best relationship with the other entities, and we have to answer to the public, which is not always easy. We were honored at the national conference for the second year in a row this past week, and I was able to speak on behalf of Oxford and to really let people know about our community and the Washington Square project, and it was nice to put Oxford in the spotlight at the national conference, standing room only in our presentation, which was really nice to see. We're up for the most awards in Oakland County on June 6th. All of you are welcome to attend. We're up for 9 awards that night because of our commitment to the Main Street program and how well our community is doing. The DDA board approved 2 new interns that will start tomorrow, and we were able to hire them with help from the Fort Community Foundation of a grant that we applied for and received. We are in the process of already updating our trifold map because of the new businesses that have come in within the last 6 months. We met with 2 new businesses in the past week. One that we approached and tried to get into our community, and it ended up working out. So we put them in touch with the building owner. They bought the building, and now we will have an ice cream shop in downtown Oxford. We are starting a historic project where we will have history plaques on buildings throughout the downtown in order to talk about the history in downtown, and I really feel like it connects the home and history slogan that we put out there a few years ago when we rebranded. Our huddle is downtown tomorrow at the village offices. This is with all of our downtown businesses. We do this once a month. And if anybody wants to know what the DDA is up to or what projects we're looking on, I'd be happy to have you attend. We have a new prospect of a business that's coming in tomorrow that's looking to rent downtown. We approved 3 grants for sign and facade grants last night at the DDA. And then I was very lucky to just be nominated to sit on the advocacy committee for the MDA, the Michigan Downtown Association. So now we'll be advocating in Lansing on behalf of our downtowns and behalf of Oxford, which I think will really go far in what we're trying to do and gaining additional revenue coming up. And I think that's it.
Great, thank you.
Can I ask you questions?
Mm-hmm.
What's the location and date for June 6th?
Yep, June 6th is at the Roxy in Rochester. It's from 6 to 9 p.m. And the DDA will pick up the ticket for any village council member that wants to attend.
Thank you.
I got one more question. Did
Yep.
did you send us an email on that?
I did, I sent it to Joe and Kelsey, but yeah, I'll definitely can send you the details. Would love for you guys to be there if your spouses want to come. I know a few of our board members are bringing their spouses. It really is a fun night. This year's theme is Back to the Future, so you will see a lot of people dressed up, but if not, cocktail attire is totally fine. Yep.
Thanks. Helen Trail?
I was able to go this month. I know. So if you walk down the Pollyant Trail over by Pleasant Street, you'll notice that what used to be a monarch garden has all been rotilled up. There is a OHS student who is taking it on to do it as a memorial garden for Justin Schilling. He's working with the Rochester Pollinators Club. forgive me if I didn't get their title correct. So they are gonna go and redo that with some, native plants and pollinators. The garden that was there had fallen to some disrepair. So it'll be nice to see that revived. And the club does have a long-term plan for maintaining and keeping that area up, so it doesn't so that history doesn't repeat itself.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, manager, staff, and attorney reports, Mr. Woodward?
Yes, I sent some pictures out to you guys today after a long wait. The power washer for the water tank did show up, and it worked actually through the weekend with it and wrapped it up today. It looks a lot better.
Yeah.
And so to see those guys up there hanging from a rope around the end on that tower with the power washer in hands is just unbelievable. People are crazy enough to do it. The aerator tank paintings and the water treatment plant too, they did sanding and printing and framing. If they would have tinted the primer, probably would have needed another coat, but now they put the outer coat on and see some of the primer and repair spots below. So now that the power washing is done, they're going to come back and put another coat of that on. And then we touched briefly earlier on the Park Street sewer project. That's going quite well. But again, we've had some feedback and communications with the folks out there. While we're out there, even they're coming out and asking about it. And they're all excited. They know now. I was concerned that we would have enough time to finish the sanitary sewer repairs because the other project's starting. I didn't know how soon they would be able to get to it. Well, as it turned out, again, like I said, they started last Thursday. They'll be done this week. The project will sit in that shape for about a month before we get the other project going. Again, they still haven't had a pre-construction meeting or anything like that. They're still working here on this project, that contractor. But again, they're aware and that this will be put back and EDD will keep a mindful eye on as the gravel sections of the road where it was tore up. They'll kind of keep up on that, keep it from getting too pulled out with that tree. And then this project is going pretty well. They got a little behind, but then they've really beefed up the people and the staff. Nearly all the underground drain work is done. You see a lot of the downspouts have been tied into the drains. The concrete is being poured. They were prepping for pouring the slab in the dumpster pad enclosure and out front. Probably pour that tomorrow. They were really hoping to have the underground contractor out of here by the end of this week. And if a little good luck and the weather holds up, they should. That's when they'll come in and start doing some of the other work to prep for the parking lot. We're still a couple weeks out.
Still expected by the end of May?
Yeah, I think so. We had a couple things that when we put the valve in on the 4-inch line that comes underneath Burdick, that went fine. But a couple days later, the water was filled with the hole was filled with water. Just back, right in the road edge, as it goes under the road, Burdick, there was an old part of the pipe that was leaking. And so that repair was made right then with a bit of a calcified part of the main of the road. So luckily, we were able to. It came after the work, putting the insert valve in, was just enough to make that leak come to light, and so we took care of that. Then had to do some big storm drain repairs coming out a lot of that were old. Had to fix some of those. The concrete on the east side of the building out there was much thicker in some areas than estimated, so they had a big, larger piece of equipment in to tear it out. So a little bit extra there, but still all in all, it's going well.
Great, thank you. Terry?
I don't have anything.
Mr. Davis?
So a lot of times local governments will establish a committee to help carry out a role of the local government, a non-decision making study committee on various issues. Last Wednesday, the Michigan Supreme Court heard oral arguments as to whether those committees were bound by the Open Meetings Act, the posting requirements, the public forum requirements, and whatnot. The argument was robust. It was an active 7 justices. The oral argument is on YouTube. I had one hit. I want to tell everyone. Somebody out there watched my oral argument. So pretty much I'm blasting down YouTube. But it is an interesting issue for us because, the examples are numerous. You often have issues that we just you can't take the public's time at your meetings to carry out the studies on certain topics, and so you get 2 members and some citizens, and you grab the chief and, or all the chiefs, and you form a committee to bring back some recommendations. So the question is whether or not that committee is a public body, which I argue is not, because they have no decision-making authority. They're not a public body, you're the public body, but we'll see how the court feels about that.
Great, yeah, looking forward to that.
We should get like, we're coming up on summer, they don't work very hard during the summer, so I would expect a ruling either before or, sometime early fall.
Before or after summer?
Right, right.
Big, mark that on my calendar.
Yeah, that one day that we have.
Great. Thank you. Okay, we'll go to council comments.
Comments, thank you.
No? Nothing?
Had the chance to go to OAYN, the awards, and I gotta be honest, I think Oxford has a lot of great talent and a lot of great youth coming up. So just really excited to kind of see that in our community and everything that's going on there. Also, my wife works for the Warrior Arts Center, and she's throwing the Flower and Art Fair in downtown LaCorian this weekend. So if you get a chance, go out there and buy your flowers and enjoy some of the festivities, and that's it.
I'm all set, thank you.
My only comment is I will be absent for the June meeting. I'll be on vacation, so I'll see you in July. Somebody else will take the lead.
Enjoy your vacation.
Thank you. Okay, so now we will move into a closed session. Do we have a case number to cite for the motion?
I'm sorry,
Yeah, but it should be H.
I forgot E.
We're gonna hand out.
There's a memo?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So it's 15268H. Okay, so I'll make a motion to move into closed session to discuss attorney-client privilege memorandum. Is that the one? Under MCL 15268H. Support. Motion by Cook, seconded by Kat. Does that require a roll call vote?
Yes, it
Yeah,
does.
to go in, not to come out.
Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Cook?
Yes.
Cap?
Yes.
Nicosia?
Yes.
Alma?
Yes.
Or Joe?
Yes.
All right. So we will clear the room and go into closed session. Thank you.
Very good, sir.
All right, I'll move to adjourn at 8:51.
Support?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nay? Are adjourned. Thank you.
You're right.